What's going on, good kind people? You are checking out a all new The RCWR show covering latest in all things wrestling. A lot of wrestling to be talking about tonight too on this episode. Happy you guys are tuning in for this Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. Month of July has been going by so fast. I don't know how it's been for you guys, but it feels as though for me, it was only literally 7 days ago that it was the 4th of July. That's how it feels for me, even though it's been 2 weeks. I mean, I guess I'm having fun. I guess I'm doing good. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I'm okay. I feel good and everything. Everything's been going pretty good. Hope you guys have been doing pretty good as well. Hump day, we're here. We're almost there to that weekend. Just keep holding on, y'all. Keep holding on for those of you that get to relax on the weekend. Say, nice Fyter Fest Night II we got of AEW Dynamite tonight. But of course, the biggest piece of news that's come about is the CM Punk returning to wrestling. Rumors, the reports that's floating all around there, it has intensified. It has heated up. It is heating up, man, in a huge, huge way. And we're definitely going to be dissecting that, looking all into that. Also got the rumblings there of Bryan as well. So, I mean, man, what a crazy week. What a crazy week. We just might have ourselves a summer of Punk after all, so to speak, here this year before the calendar year is out. Hey, we're streaming at you from a couple of different outlets. Appreciate y'all as always. Now, FYI, we had talked about it on the last show or the show before, because I usually get comments about, oh, hey, this feed is down, or hey, this feed is down. Going forward, in case you guys don't know, I'm going to say it maybe 1-2 more times. The platforms where you want to be representing and checking out the show on a regular basis when we go live, you definitely want to be heading over to YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Now, I'm not the only one that's been experiencing this, but some of my podcasting buddies as well, we all can no longer stream our show on Twitter. And the way we used to be able to stream our shows via Twitter was because Periscope was still active. So if you guys that have a Twitter account notice, that's why you were always able to see us on Twitter streaming live. But the way it's looking right now, the only way you can stream live on Twitter is by actually doing, you have to actually use the app, like the actual Twitter app, to be able to go live respectfully on there. So I am looking at ways of trying to see about bringing it back in some form for our Twitter audience, because I gotta say, I did like, the more avenues the better, I always say, but I did like streaming to the Twitter platform. But yeah, for now, the main outlets, it's just gonna be YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. And I gotta be honest, Twitch, we're getting pretty soon, we're getting ready to get rid of Twitch as well. I mean, I will continue to have a Twitch account, but I think at this point, what most likely is going to be happening is I'll probably be using the Twitch account more for streaming video games. That's, you know, that's where I see myself going with the Twitch account. But other than that, yeah, I would say honestly the YouTube and definitely the Facebook is the main outlets we're gonna be using going forward here. Also, Discord, definitely can't stress it enough. Discord is something else that we're gonna be utilizing more. As a matter of fact, give me a quick second here. There we go. Because I had almost forgot to sync up with Discord earlier. So we're now also streaming on Discord now. So yeah, and then pretty soon we'll probably also bring back, pretty soon we'll also probably bring back Spreaker as well, streaming live on Spreaker and everything. So actually, give me a second here, guys. There we go. Just doing some stuff in the background here. So yeah, pretty solid week of wrestling so far, man. I mean, we got the live fans that came back in attendance for Monday Night Raw. That was great. We've got and we just came off of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We also came off with a Slammiversary pay-per-view event. Man, load stuff. Great NXT that we had last night. We're definitely gonna be talking about NXT as well. So, AEW, Fyter Fest. And don't worry, guys, we will spend a good chunk of time to CM Punk and the Daniel Bryan reports. I promise you. That is the main attraction for tonight. I promise you guys. But Fyter Fest Night 2 tonight, kicking off there with Chris Jericho and doing his Pillars of Jericho. First opponent there in Shawn Spears. And remember the stipulation that was added to that particular match. Shawn Spears could use a chair. It would be legal for him to use a chair. Chris Jericho could not use a chair. Great opener. Great opener for Dynamite. And I got to tell you, man, look, I got to give AEW a lot of mad props because the way they have been utilizing Shawn Spears as of late, Shawn Spears has really turned a corner for the better. I mean, as of late, he has been going out there and been hitting solid home runs. And I dare say he held up his own pretty damn good against Jericho. And also got to give mad props to Jericho because Jericho definitely, if he wanted to, he could have gone into this match and made sure that as far as on the offense and everything, that it kind of looked a little bit one-sided there. But they really milked it for what it was worth. I personally felt both guys in there told a really great story. And I love the fact that we had so many obstacles that was going on in it. You understand what I'm saying? There was like a lot of variables that was going on. Because one point you've got Tully Blanchard that comes out there and you're going, oh shit, here we go. Here we go with the fuckery. You know, but I don't think anybody ever seriously doubted that Jericho was going to lose, but just seeing how things were playing up, how the deck was being stacked up against Jericho there, you're going, okay, man, off to a rocky start here. Is he really going to be able to pull this off? So I love that they kind of tried to go for a little bit of a nail biter here with this opener. Sammy Guevara coming out there, pretty much neutralizing Tully Blanchard. Never got physical with Tully. Did y'all peep that out? Never got physical with Tully. But, you know, you did have that going on and everything. Chris Jericho defeating Shawn Spears with the Judas effect. Great matchup. Damn good matchup. I can't complain whatsoever about this. I know for some people, this may look a little, you know, in some areas, but no, overall, I thought the match was good. Crowd white hot, by the way. The crowd was fantastic. Oh, I love seeing these fans back in attendance, yo. You guys have no freaking idea. No freaking idea. We are just on this honeymoon period right now. And look, I got to be honest with you guys. I am going to enjoy it for all it's worth. This honeymoon period with the live fans back in attendance, because it is completely like night and day, is it not? It is like night and day. Major difference, fans, no fans, when it comes to these shows. They really do make all the difference, especially, can you just imagine if you've had somewhat of a funky day at work or school, or maybe you're having problems with person you're dating or whatever, you know, you like your wrestling, and can you just imagine just coming home and turning on the TV, watching your favorite wrestling show now going forward, and there's still no live fans in attendance, and you're trying to do your best to really, I think that was probably one of the more interesting things that happened without fans being back in attendance, if you really stop and think about it, as we continue on with talk of Dynamite, which is without the fans being in attendance, now a more keen set of eyes and ears is paying more closely attention to what all is happening in the ring and everything. All of those senses is enhanced even more, as somewhat opposed to what's going on now with the fans being back in attendance. I don't know if you guys are kind of kind of noticing it now. Maybe you will now that I've brought that up. Let me know. But yeah, great opener there. So MJF, he was there on commentating. He didn't interfere in this match whatsoever. However, he did post-match congratulate Jericho. Told him, hey, good, you passed number one. But from here on out, things are going to get even more worse for you, as he introduced Jericho's next labor opponent, which is going to be a no DQ match, and it's going to be against hardcore indie wrestler favorite for a lot of you guys, Nick Gage. Nick Gage is going to be the next opponent. Now, for those of you that do not check out the Dark Side of the Ring series, you aren't really into your underground pro wrestling, you aren't really into the indie scene like that, you may have looked at this guy and said, who the fuck is this guy? Why should I give a damn about this guy? Totally understand that. Totally understand that. Without boring everybody, in a nutshell, Nick Gage, he's currently the GCW World Champion. He's in his second title reign right now. This man has worked for CZW, many matches with CZW. I mean, this guy has just screams, his whole career screams indies. He is described as one of the kings of death matches. He's right up there. You know, you could almost make an argument that him and John Moxley, very similar paths of a career to a certain extent. You could make that argument. You actually could make that argument, believe it or not. So he is a folklore of a legend, basically, on the independents, especially in the hardcore scene and everything. It's very interesting because I saw some people that were scrutinizing him and saying, why would AEW hire this goddamn bank robber? You know, what the hell what's wrong with them, man? You know, and I'm just, wow. Like, really? Like, that was 5 years ago, right? So he did 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to second-degree bank robbery. Nobody was murdered. Nothing crazy, but when it's all said and done, he did commit a crime. And he did do the time. I did not mean to make that rhyme, by the way. But, he was released in 2016. So I ask you, when an individual has fucked up at some point in their life, they've done their respected time and all that, when are we going to give them a second chance of an opportunity as far as redeeming themselves? Or because that person went to jail, now look, I can understand within reason, okay, you know what, if we're talking bank robber, but nobody got killed, nobody got hurt, okay. But if we're talking about a murderer, I don't know about that one. Okay, I can totally understand that as much as the next person. So in the case of Nick Gage, if all he did was rob a bank, I mean, I don't get this. Riddle me this. So Booker T had troubles with the law, as we saw in his A&E biography, and as he's documented in his books and spoken about many times over the years. What a great story for him. A guy that was on the wrong side of the coin, saw the error in his ways, and wanted to change his life for the better, especially since he had a son. And he was trying to do everything in his power to make sure that his son didn't follow down this destructive path that he found himself going on and everything. So just imagine if pro wrestling was not there for Booker T. There's no telling what would have happened with Booker T going down the road. Straight up. No telling what would have happened with him. Yo, Nate, no telling what would have happened with him. So, you kind of got, so I'm just trying to put that in you all's head, because if we're going to be one way with a particular wrestler and put them under the microscope, scrutinize them and everything, my point is we need to be consistent. We need to make sure that if we're going to act this way, that we're doing it all across the board with every single body, no matter what. So I thought it was rather silly what was going on there with some of the comments coming in for Nick Gage tonight. Correction, Nick Cage. Sorry about that. No, I said it right. Nick Gage. Nick Gage. But yeah, deathmatch. He is just one of the kings of death matches. He's been described as kind of like a cult figure, because he does have quite a following, underground cult following and everything. You pretty much gotta know your indies. You gotta know your extreme hardcore shit to know about this guy. So hopefully, now that you kind of got a little bit of a background on this man, that'll entice you to maybe look up some of his stuff online. Get yourself ready for next week's AEW Dynamite, which is going to be a Fyter Fest. No, it's going to be a Fight for the Fallen edition, because later on in the show, Alex Marvez caught up with Chris Jericho to get his thoughts on taking on Nick Gage next week. And all you saw was the back of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is saying to Marvez, hey, yeah, obviously this guy, Nick Gage, I know what he's all about, and it's definitely going to be a significant test. But, I'm up for the task. However, I'm not going to be going at this as just regular Chris Jericho. And when he turns around, he says he's going to be facing Nick Gage as the Painmaker. So he's bringing back the Painmaker gimmick, which honestly was one of my favorite gimmicks. I know some people like to have a lot of fun with the Painmaker gimmick of Jericho, because I've seen the memes and all that, so we don't need to go any further than that. But me personally, I actually think the gimmick is pretty cool, and I like the fact that nowadays he's only bringing this out when he feels that the persona is necessary. So I love the fact that Jericho pretty much, okay, I can't go into this as the regular demo god cracking smiles, and I can't go into this particular fight like regular Jericho. I gotta dig into my old bag of tricks, and I gotta bring out an old persona. I gotta bring this certain dark side out, because that dark side is the only true shot that I have in being able to stay toe to toe with Nick Gage. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these two guys are going to be able to do next week. I think it's going to be a classic matchup. By the way, I don't know how many of you guys have access to A&E on demand. If not, your best bet is to get Philo TV. And before anybody asks me what is Philo TV, if you've ever heard and interacted with some point a Sling TV, YouTube TV, it's pretty much like that. So Philo TV, P as in Paul, HILO, Philo TV. You can check this out on any respected device. Doesn't matter if it's Android or iOS. You can check it out. I don't know if it's available on game consoles. I don't believe it is. But you can get it for sure on Android and iOS devices. And there's a decent amount of channels that you can watch. So in the day and age where a lot of people are ditching the cable satellite, stuff like Philo has been on the rise. But I bring up Philo because if you don't have access to A&E, just drop $20. That's it. Philo is $20 a month, and you can watch channels like A&E. And the real cool thing that I like about Philo is whatever the respected network is, that's part of that default $20 package, the episodes are automatically on demand. There is an on demand feature that you can go into, and once you've added that show to your favorites, all new episodes will be saved to your DVR that's pretty much in the cloud. But on top of that, whatever episodes has already premiered is available on demand, all accessible for you for that $20. So you can actually go right now and you can check out the because they got Vice on there from what I remember. They do, Philo TV does have Vice. So you can go there and you can watch the Dark Side of the Ring, and you can actually get yourself caught up. I'm mentioning Dark Side of the Ring because he was a focal point for the third season, this current season that had wrapped up of Dark Side of the Ring. He actually, a whole episode was dedicated pretty much to him. So you definitely want to check that out. I won't put any spoilers out there for you guys. I actually got to refresh myself a little bit on that Dark Side episode, because I remember when I watched it, I probably watched about maybe 30% of it. So unfortunately here tonight, I can't really, and besides, I don't want to lose people's interest that aren't that familiar with Nick Gage. But again, just to really help prepare you all, get you ready for the joint next week against Chris Jericho, I definitely would say check it out. There was some pretty good, strong ass ratings, I remember, for that Nick Gage episode too. A lot of people after that episode had premiered were just ranting and raving all about that. So pretty smart from a marketing standpoint of AEW to try to do their best to capitalize on that. Yeah. Frankie Kazarian taking on Luke Gallows. Second matchup of Fyter Fest. Hey, Kaz, solid. Kaz was solid. He did pretty good. He actually defeated Luke Gallows. You know, a little short minute match. Not really you can really sink your teeth into, but he was good. He was good. You know me when it comes to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson by now. I'm pretty much, you know, look, I wish I could get paid boo. Right? It's like, I wish I could get paid boo. I was trying to say boatloads, but it's like it wasn't coming to me. Sometimes like there is a glitch in the Matrix. What's going on? But no, I wish I could get paid boatloads of money and I can just pretty much, you know, half-ass it. I wish, you know, I'm working on it. But yeah, you know, it's like really not much you can sink your teeth into here. But post-match, Anderson and Gallows, they decide to gang up on Kaz. Kenny Omega comes out with Don Callis. Don's talking a hot game to Kazarian, pretty much saying, hey, look, this is what happens when you mess with the Elite and you mess with Kenny Omega. Kenny tells Kaz, welcome to my humble body, said the spider to the fly. I've never heard of that shit before. I'm a big fan of The Cure and a couple other joints. I've always remembered it as welcome to my parlor, said the spider to the fly. So that for me was the first head scratcher of Kenny Omega's promo. And then later on, Omega is trying to say something like promo wise, and he actually fumbles live right there in attendance. Don Callis comes in and he's whispering some stuff to him, you know, as far as cleaning it up. And Omega just runs with that. Not one of Kenny Omega's strongest points tonight on the mic, but then one can make the argument, well, shit, Lee, has Omega really ever been strong on the microphone? But they pretty much were laying Kazarian out, talking a big hot game to him. Hangman Adam Page came in there for the save. Don Callis and then brought up the fact, wait a minute, there's only one of you, and there's like, look at us. Like, you're drunk, surely. Yeah, you're definitely drunk, because surely you're smart enough to realize what's about to happen to you right here. Page didn't give a fuck. All brawl breaks out. Dark Order came, had his back. Omega, rest of those guys had retreated. You know, now that I think about it, there was no Young Bucks here tonight. Now that I'm thinking about it, we did not see the Young Bucks. Kind of, yeah. I don't know if you guys had peeped it out. Yeah, no Young Bucks tonight. Dasha Fuentes backstage chatting it up with Brian Cage as a video package of Taz with the rest of his guys, Starks, Hobbs, Hook. You know, they're celebrating the fact that Starks is now the new FTW champion. Apparently, Starks is going to be having a celebration of becoming the new FTW champion on next week's Dynamite. Cage says, okay, cool. Next week, right? There's going to be a celebration. Okay, cool. I love celebrations. So, obviously, he's going to be crashing the scene of that next week. All right. Third matchup, Darby Allin taking on Wheeler Yuta. Darby Allin picking up the dub. This match was about maybe 5 minutes. For me, look, I got to be honest. I was watching the crowd here. The crowd was mostly silent. They were mostly silent for this, but they marked out like a mofo when Orange Cassidy was playing with Sting. I thought for me that was the mega highlight of the night, was seeing Orange Cassidy come on over to Sting. Sting's looking at him. They're not even exchanging words, and they're literally taking turns doing those little Orange Cassidy kicks and all that. Sting being a real good sport, playing with him and everything. I loved it. I loved it. Laughed my ass off. Yo, I wish I could get paid $1 million to play footsie with somebody in the ring. I mean, seriously. Yo, you're going to give me $1 million and all I got to do is just stand at ringside and play footsie with a wrestler? Pfft, fucking A, sign me up, man. Good little hilarious spot right there. For me, the match of the night for Dynamite, I got to give it up to the AEW Women's Championship match. Britt Baker taking on Nyla Rose. Fantastic match. Truly fantastic, man. I can't sing enough praise for what both of these girls did tonight on Dynamite's Fyter Fest. I wouldn't be surprised as far as one of the top 3 segments of the night. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in one of these, if not number one, if not the number one. That's how good this match was. Crowd really into this as well. Britt Baker, of course, retaining her AEW Women's Championship. Damn good. And, and I got to give mad props to Nyla Rose, too. I know in the past, Nyla Rose has gotten a bit of a bad rep in the ring. I definitely have pointed out in the past some points of observation where I felt she was a little bit clunky, downright a little bit sloppy in some areas, encouraged to, hey, let's clean this up a little bit. But at least my constructive criticism was truly that. It was constructive criticism trying to offer ways of improvement, whereas others went below the belt. I'm sure some of you guys that make your rounds on social media, you've seen some of the venom that has come Nyla Rose's way. It's one thing to offer constructive criticism. It's another when you're not only taking shots at somebody for their size, but you're also taking shots at somebody as far as the gender that they identify with and making fun of them because of that. I mean, it's crazy. That's the nature of the beast when it comes to social media. That's that form of the toxicity that I'm always talking about. But as far as in the ring goes, yeah, she's been rough in the past, but I tell you what, what I've seen of her a little bit as of late, but definitely what I saw of her tonight, leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds of better improvement. I gotta give it up to her. Damn good matchup. My hat's off to both girls. They did fantastic tonight. FTR, Santana and Ortiz press conference. They pretty much were hyping up this match they're going to be having on next week's Dynamite edition of Fight for the Fallen. Nothing really too much there you could sink your teeth into, although I got to give mad props. I believe it was Santana that really, I'll tell you this, from a storyline standpoint, man, Santana and Ortiz, them boys together, but particularly Santana, knows how to freaking get you in the palm of the hand there, and you're heavily invested. I love that brief story that he talked about, where, his mom was pretty much struggling, and they pretty much were in a crappy ass apartment out in the Bronx. Mom was taking the slumlords to court over the poor living conditions they had going on. I loved all of that. And then how FTR essentially countered that back and really tried to bring it on home to the match they're going to be having next week. Good shit right there. Good shit. I'm actually, of all the matches that's going to be going down for that Fight for the Fallen, I'm actually looking forward to that matchup the most. I got to say. Looking forward to that one the most. See, other than that, yeah, probably the most frustrating segment of the night. Look, even if you are a AEW hardcore purist of a fan, even you have to admit, yeah, Lee, we gotta tighten that up for sure. Probably the most awkward segment of the entire night, the most roughest segment of the entire night. I wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe in the top 2 for lowest rated segments. But Andrade. Man, Andrade. So, Andrade is out with Tony Schiavone, setting this up properly for you guys. And apparently, hey, before we get things started, got a surprise for everybody. Tony Schiavone introduces Andrade's new executive consultant, Chavo Guerrero. Not a problem there. I love Chavo Guerrero. I actually had an opportunity to interview Chavo Guerrero years back. And the way it came about was actually when Chavo Guerrero was one of the executive producers for Lucha Underground. And so we were talking all things Lucha Underground, I believe other parts of his career. And of course, the Guerreros and all. It was good. You can actually find it on demand, downloads. It's definitely up on our YouTube channel. Go over to the guest exclusives playlist and you can pretty much find it that way. And it was so funny because I remember initially when that interview was first released, some people were going, it's Chavo Guerrero. You want the real deal, which is Eddie, but on the wish list, and you get Chavo instead. And for me, I didn't even look at it like that. Just the fact that Chavo Guerrero, not only the last name, but the rich history that goes with that family, and to be able to actually be in a cool position where I could talk with a Guerrero. Like, are you kidding me? Nah, man. For me, that was one of my top, if I were to make a top 5 list, that for me is in my, actually, if I were to do a top 10, talking with Chavo is definitely in my top 5, is what I was trying to say. So I'm a big fan of Chavo's work. Always have been. Was he always kind of lacking in the personality department early in his career? Yeah, you ain't gonna get no arguments from me, but it seemed like as time progressed, he did get better and better. I wouldn't say he was on the level of sometimes Chavo, promo wise, sometimes I'll see little bursts that'll remind me of Santana when Santana's spitting that high game. But and almost a little bit of Conan too. Chavo, he'll almost have a little bit of Conan on the promo. But typically Chavo is what's a good analogy as far as who Chavo reminds me of when he's cutting his promos typically. Maybe a combination of Keith Lee meets Kenny Omega. I think that's a fair comparison, right? Kenny Omega, Keith Lee. Now, some people could look at that, they could say, that's kind of bad, or they could say, that's kind of average then, right? I do mean average, kind of average. But Chavo Guerrero coming out, totally loved it. Crowd popped, they loved it, enjoying this. But then Death Triangle comes back. Rey Fenix is back. Hey, great that Fenix is back. Remember, he was out for a hot minute due to injury and all, but he's back. And every single time you're trying to get into this segment, right? As a fan, you didn't watch this tonight. As the fan, you're watching this. You're going, okay, Andrade, I see you head to toe. You look pretty good and everything. Okay. All right. You got Tony Schiavone helping you. Okay, good. All right. You're trying to get yourself over in this segment. You've got the microphone, but man, you're struggling here. Chavo Guerrero comes out. Crowd's back into it. Because you could see the energy literally flowing out of the bodies of the fans every time Andrade was talking here. So you lose the fans, right? But then Chavo comes out. The fans are, hey, they are into it. And at this point, I'm going, great. Was digging Vicky Guerrero, but if we're going to go with Chavo, hey, I'm totally down with Chavo. Now, for sure, whatever he's calling himself, El Idolo, whatever, El Idolo. Hey, Andrade, you don't need to talk in English anymore. You can let Chavo pretty much do everything. If you're going to talk in your native language. Okay, cool. But then when Death Triangle comes out, and they get a good pop, this segment and the way it just, I don't know who was doing this. I don't know who laid this out. But Andrade was trying his damnedest to get himself over. And it was very, very, very frustrating. And look, people, I'm not mocking because I know what had went down with Willie Urbana a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so look, I'm not making fun of Andrade. I want to make sure I preface that, okay? But when you have somebody that's out there and they're going, look at me. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. I want to tell you something. Look at me. I'm going to tell you. My man was struggling. And that was very frustrating for me. I did not like seeing him struggle. And he struggled so bad. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not over-exaggerating. You got to go back, watch this if you didn't watch it yet. Chavo tries to go in and save him. Chavo, very respectfully takes the microphone. I know what Andrade is trying to say. These people know what Andrade is trying to say. But let me really break this down for you guys. And you're like, okay, Chavo, okay. Okay, Chavo, way to take the scene here. Okay, Chavo. But then somehow the microphone gets back into Andrade's hands. And so you got this roller coaster where you're just, with this promo and this whole segment, you're just going, it's a bumpy ride. Very, very frustrating. Look, man, we all got to be honest. The way this has been going about with Andrade so far in AEW, it's been a bust. It's been nothing impressive so far. It really hasn't. It's been nothing impressive so far. Look, by Chavo being there, I think Chavo will definitely help elevate Andrade to that next level. But one of the ways that they've got to do this, I'm going to keep on saying it. Just let Andrade, going forward, never, ever, ever have Andrade live in the middle of the ring. Never have him cut English promos. Don't do that. You're putting him at a disadvantage, and that is not fair to him. And that is not fair to the fans who you're trying to essentially, this guy's cool. This guy's over. No. If you're trying to get this guy over on the fans, then having him continue to cut these English promos live in attendance, that's not the way to go. Let him talk in his native language when it comes to being at these live shows. Let Chavo be the one to translate. If you're going to have Andrade say something in English, first of all, it needs to be extremely short and to the point. And it needs to be, if it were me, the way I would set this up, and this isn't me over analyzing, but if this were me, I basically, okay, you know what? Every time Andrade does get ready to speak English, we need to make sure we give him some type of a soundbite that's going to have the fans just go, ooh, and they're laughing and they're clapping and all that. All right, so what? And like, it just needs to somewhat be a quiet running gag, but it's kind of one of those type of deals where whenever Andrade does get ready to speak, like, oh, we know he's going to say something kind of cool here. We know he's going to say something memorable. So, for example, Ray Phoenix, you, I make my bitch. Oh, okay, that's it. That's the only thing he needs to say in English. And you could just pretty much have like a running thing just like that. Again, live attendance when he's in front of the fans. But you don't need to have him out there going past 60 seconds of an English promo and just, because you're playing the gambit there, you're risking losing the fans' attention and all that. So I'm very curious to see, now that we've got Chavo Guerrero working with him, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there from here on now. I'll tell you this much too. I'm a big fan of her work. But I can't help but wonder what is going on with my girl Selena De La Renta. Because I gotta tell you, when I first heard, hey, new executive for Andrade, I'm going, Selena? Like, yeah, Selena. If anybody can get Chavo over, definitely Selena. And it wasn't Selena. So I can't help but wonder what's going on with our girl Selena De La Renta, whether or not she is going to be, you know what I'm saying? So, most curious. Continuing on though, rough segment of the night. Very curious to see how the quarter segments break down for that one. Blade taking on Orange Cassidy. Pretty decent. Pretty solid matchup. Orange Cassidy picking up the dub. Actually was pretty decent. Pretty decent of a matchup. Main event match, New Japan Pro Wrestling United States Championship match. Jon Moxley taking on the Murder Hawk Lance Archer. We got ourselves a new NJPW US champion in Lance Archer. This was a fucking clinic of a match. I love this match from start to finish. Great psychology. I love the way Moxley, I complimented NXT, and this is probably going to alienate Christopher Carter, who had said AEW is an awesome show, WWE is a joke, AEW 10 out of 10 stars. And I'm not mocking him for, I'm just reading it off like that. That's just the voice I decided to go with. But he's probably not going to like this comment I'm about to make here. AEW and other promotions that I've seen within recent weeks, when it has come to the story of their big man versus little man, the psychology has been stupid as fuck. It has. However, I watched NXT last night, and what great ring psychology that was laid out in the way the match was booked between Xia Li and Raquel Gonzalez, which we'll talk about after we're done here. But that was the best big man versus little man psychology-wise, just that I've seen within recent weeks from all of the other promotions that I've been watching, including AEW. Remember, I was here on this show last week. Not a fan of the psychology that went into Brian Cage taking on Ricky Starks. Go back when you get a chance. If you didn't listen already, check it out. And you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about. And it's pretty hard to disagree with the points that I made, as it's very valid. So, this match, loved it. I really did love the psychology of this. I mean, on the one hand, you had Moxley be this tough, gritty son of a bitch that is pretty much just, he's got like this never die attitude. But at the same time, you've got Lance Archer, who really is living up to this murder hawk mentality and just the brutality that he was taking in this. I mean, both men. I tell you what, I know that for a hot minute there, what was it? We had Lance Archer early on in his career, and I still remember brief time there he was feuding with Cody and all that, but I got to tell you something. Up to this point, and the way that Lance Archer has been booked so far in AEW, this has been some of his best work yet. What he's been stringing together within recent months, and it culminating to this point, I got to give it up. I got to give it up to AEW for what they're doing here. I mean, they, when you really kind of stop and think about it, you could almost make an argument that, and I don't want this to rub people the wrong way, but I think people will understand what I mean when I say this. You could almost make the argument that with the passing of Brody Lee, AEW rededicated themselves to, okay, you know what? The next big guy that we got, and we definitely got to make sure that in Lance Archer. You could almost make that argument. One thing that continues to be a glaring look, for me at least, I don't know how it is for you all. I don't know if things just went ice cold or what, but we never did get Lance Archer Sting. And it kind of seemed as though we were being teased there for a series of weeks that maybe these two were going to have some type of a match, some type of a fight, and never came to be. I wonder what's going on with that. Was there a change of heart? Gonna come back to it later. What's going on with that? Right down to the point, I remember, and I know you guys remember as well, there was a series of weeks there where Darby and Sting were getting their asses handed to them. And who came out to save them? Lance Archer. And we never did get that definitive, wait a minute. Thought that there was a little bit of hostility, a little bit of beef that was going on between Archer and Sting. We never did get that justification of why was Lance Archer helping out Sting. Is it because he respects him, or like what's going on here? So kind of interesting there. But hey, Archer, new NJPW US champion, couldn't celebrate that long as his next challenger. Man, big boy too. Big boy in his own right. That should be a damn good fight too. Son of King Aquelo, came down to the ring, and this dude is actually, believe it or not, this guy's actually taller than Archer. Yeah, that Fyter Fest card, not Fyter Fest, Fight for the Fallen. I don't know why I'm getting my fight joints mixed up. Fight for the Fallen, Fyter Fest. Fight for the Fallen, Fyter Fest. But the card for next week, I actually got the matches right here. Give me a second to pull it up here. All right, so next week, Fight for the Fallen edition of AEW Dynamite. Jericho as the Painmaker taking on Nick Gage. We told you about that already. Santana and Ortiz take on FTR. Cage, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus will be in action against HFO. Now that we know Lance Archer is the new NJPW US champion, he'll be facing, as we mentioned a few seconds ago, Aquelo, son of King Haku. Tony Khan. Oh, actually, before we get to that, the Elite will face Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order in a 10-man elimination tag. And Tony Khan will be making a announcement. And I'll give AEW this credit right here, because in the past, and AEW has been handed their ass for this, in the past, AEW and Tony Khan, they've done these things with social media, blow your fucking head up, got you nice and swollen, because there's some type of big breaking news that's going to be laid out, and then it turns out, oh no, it's just we've added another show to our tour schedule, so you guys can go get tickets when it becomes available on this date. And they were handed their ass as a result. So as of late, I gotta give AEW, Tony Khan, and them a lot of props. They are doing a better job not misleading the fans there. As this go round, they stated on Dynamite, Tony Khan will be on Dynamite next week to make an announcement of a new AEW live event. So that's going to be pretty huge. That's going to be pretty huge. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. Maybe Chicago, maybe New Jersey. It kind of feels to me like maybe they're going to do something like with regards to the announcement. It kind of feels like maybe they're going to do something on the East Coast. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I would imagine they're going to be hitting up some type of a, that'd be kind of cool if, fat chance it would happen, but that'd be kind of cool if they were to do something at MSG, I personally think. I think that would be kind of cool. All right, so if you guys been enjoying the show so far, please do me a huge favor, especially if you haven't done it just yet. But make sure you hit that subscribe button. When you do that, it really helps push our content out there more for recommendations channel-wise. So do that. Appreciate that in advance. Feel free to subscribe too. Love to have you be a subscriber. Shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check that out. Get yourself some bonus audio, video content. Won't be able to find anywhere else. Catch me this Friday, August 20th. I did say Friday, August 20th. I don't know why I said this Friday, but coming attractions is what I should be saying. Catch me Friday, August 20th at the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., as I'll be returning there to cover the AWESOMECON event. This will be my 4th consecutive year, not only covering the event, but this go round, I'll also be co-hosting and moderating a panel with some special guests. So check that out. More information, head on over to the AWESOMECON website. AWESOMECON, put in the little horizontal/.com. All right, check that out. Or you do a Bing Google search, just type in AWESOMECON. It'll be the first joint that pops up. So we're going to talk NXT, and then from there we'll get into some of this news that's come about in regards to CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and then pretty much after that we'll definitely call it a night. I'll tell you this though, while we're going about with the show so far, if you guys want to call into the show, those of you that's live right now, if you want to call in, either talk about AEW, NXT, you want to pick my brain on some of the wrestling related stuff that's come about, maybe some non-wrestling related stuff, you could post a little something in the chat. You could either leave a comment, or if you actually want to call into the show, let me know, because that'll help me figure out if we need to try to set up the phone lines there. Otherwise, I'll definitely open up the phone line towards the end of the show at this point. How are we doing on Showtime, by the way? Let me see how we've been doing on Showtime. Yeah, and I forgot to hit the record button. That's what I forgot earlier. I told you guys I was forgetting something and I couldn't remember what it was. I was forgetting to hit the damn record button. It's all good. We got the audio we can just pull from this web stream, which always is pretty on point, so we're good. So NXT, huge development that went down on this week's NXT. I complimented the hell out of the match there for the NXT Women's Championship, Raquel Gonzalez taking on Xia Li, and I can't help but compliment that match yet again. One of my favorite matches of the night, and again, when I just think about the psychology that's been going about big man versus little man these past several weeks, and what I've seen across all the promotions I've been watching, the psychology that was laid out here in this matchup was by far some of the best storytelling that I've seen. So Raquel Gonzalez still the NXT Women's Champion. I love the way this match was booked because, you've got Xia Li, not for nothing. Yeah, it height-wise doesn't have it. Yeah, she's got to literally push her head back and she's got to look up at she's got to look up at Raquel Gonzalez. But at the same time, Xia Li's also, you look at her build, she ain't no small fry. She's got nice kind of wide shoulders. She's nicely built. She looks very athletically built. Great fucking storytelling that they have for this one. I can't put this match over enough. Very, very interesting match here. And both women just continue to amaze me and show me so much promise and what they ultimately will be able to do should they ever get an opportunity to go over to Raw or SmackDown. I really feel in my heart of hearts that these women will do phenomenally well together. Multi-time champions and all that for sure. If I had only one complaint about the match, I wasn't really a fan of the ending. The ending to the match kind of left a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, only because of the great storytelling that was laid out all throughout it. But it was still a damn good main event with excellent storytelling. But the ending was just, but I can kind of look past that. I know a lot of people were pretty concerned about the one spot that happened in the match with Xia Li. I wasn't concerned whatsoever. I know a lot of people sometimes, they look at certain spots and they got to hit the rewind button and they got to, did it look a little bit scary? I can see that. But for me, as I was watching it in real time, I just said, oh, and it was, all right, sold that pretty good. And you just knew that all was okay because, like, if you're paying attention to the social media feeds and all that, you're like, oh, not business as usual. Okay, all right, cool. Like, and as you guys see, as it stands right now, ain't get no reports about she had to go to the hospital or some weird shit like that. Nothing of that nature. Nothing of that nature. I do like how we had went about with the Samoa Joe deal. I know a lot of people were pretty upset, you could almost say triggered over what went down with Karrion Kross Monday versus Jeff Hardy. We talked about that at great length. There's no reason for us to rehash that here tonight on the show. There's really no reason to. But, for me, it was interesting seeing Samoa Joe come out to kick off NXT ready for a fight. I mean, he's got his fists taped up. He's ready to go. He's calling out Samoa Joe. And it was awesome hearing Samoa Joe in storyline reference what Karrion Kross did on Monday's Raw. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Of course, William Regal telling Samoa Joe, you're not going to get physical with him. You are a WWE official. Like, your management. Like, no. What happened with you and Karrion Kross last week, but Samoa Joe, hey, I know what I agreed to. I can only react if I'm provoked. Well, he physically attacked me. Therefore, he provoked me. So I wore his ass. I like how we had all of that set up. But William Regal's kind of like, no. Like, no. That's not why I brought you in. You know what you agreed to. No, he will be here. But you will not lay a hand on him, and when you just look at how the night started with Regal, Joe, and the whole thing about Kross, you're saying to yourself, yeah, this ain't going to end pretty. Like, somebody, I don't know how you guys were thinking, but for me, it was a case of somebody is going to get choked out. The only question is what's going to happen. And, we all had spun some interesting ideas on what could have possibly happened going into this week's NXT. Is it possible that Karrion Kross could have been stripped of the title, but Samoa Joe instead, just give me a fight with him? Or is it possible that Cross would have been fined and suspended? What would have happened right there? I like the tone that they set in the opening there with the whole Cross Samoa Joe, but also putting William Regal in there as well. And then to see the night end with Samoa Joe coming back out. Now that part I kind of didn't like. That kind of rubbed me along the wrong way. We had a really great women's match. And Raquel Gonzalez can't even celebrate for 2 minutes as we get the nice fade out. We can't even get that for her. As we get Samoa Joe that pretty much storms in there looking for Karrion Kross. But then we get Karrion Kross on the Titantron pretty much setting the tone. No, the NXT championship that I have around my waist. Yo, with that, I can go anywhere, do anything I damn well please. Notice no Scarlett by his side when he was cutting his promo here. You know, as Karrion Kross pretty much tells Samoa Joe who provoked who again, and we see William Regal has been laid out on the concrete canvas as Karrion Kross gets into his sweet ass black ride and drives off. Again, notice didn't appear to be Scarlett in the passenger seat. I'm gonna talk more about that, but that for me was epic. That was epic. So officially, yeah, Samoa Joe reactivate his ass as a in-ring competitor here. I cannot wait to see where the hell this is going, because, you know, obviously Samoa Joe, yeah, if I'm just kind of looking into the crystal ball a little bit, it kind of feels as though Regal at this point is going to say to Samoa Joe, after what went down with me last week, you know what? I should have listened to you a lot more. You know what? I got to refocus. I know why I brought you here. I know why I agreed to the terms, and, you know, I wanted you to take my place, but this new arrangement that we have, you know what? After what went down last week, I see clearly now how we're going to need to do things. One night only. You return to the ring. You only got one mission. Do it for me. I want you to kick the living shit out of Karrion Kross. We're going to put that NXT championship on the line, too, to make it happen. So I can't help but wonder, is that the path we're going to be going on? Or are we maybe going to be going down the path where William Regal is going to be off TV for a couple of weeks? And as a result of that, Samoa Joe is pretty much the interim GM of NXT. And as a result of that, he pretty much will have the authority to do as he pleases. And with that in mind, is Samoa Joe pretty much going to set himself up by putting himself in a match against Karrion Kross, pretty much what? Takeover weekend and all. Can't help but wonder that. Can't help but wonder that. Because as a matter of fact, I'm trying to see. I know when SummerSlam is. You know, I kind of got an idea. I just can't remember Takeover. That's the only thing I can't quite remember right now. So give me a second here. Let me see what's going on with the next Takeover. So SummerSlam's on August 21st. And Takeover should be the night before. So let's see here. NXT Takeover 36. NXT, yep, I see it. So Takeover is going to be... Really? Interesting. Okay. Cool. All right, y'all. So Saturday, August 21st. Wow, that's interesting. Saturday, August 21st is going to be SummerSlam. I can't believe that it's not on a Sunday for once. Give me a second here, guys. That's got to be wrong. Hang on here. Wow, no, SummerSlam will be on, wow, I wonder if anybody else had caught this, because so far all of my buddies in the podcasting world, the way they've been promoting SummerSlam, they've been saying Sunday, but no. SummerSlam is actually going to be a one night event, it looks like. And it's going to be on Saturday, August 21st. And then NXT TakeOver 36 will be the next night. It will be on Sunday night. So you know what? Yes, I can't help but wonder if maybe we're going to do something like that. Me personally, I hope that they have Regal off for a couple of weeks. And then, when he does return, Regal pretty much gives his blessings. Yeah, go kick his ass and all that. So that should be pretty damn good. Other than that, I'm just thinking about the rest of the card of what went down on NXT this week. Because it was a little bit lackluster besides those two areas I just talked about. Drake Maverick, LA Knight, pretty much a squash match. MSK being interviewed, being asked about what does MSK stand for. They're being interrupted by the Imperium guys. To each its own. Me personally, I don't actually care about that matchup. Totally honest, I don't care about that matchup. I know Diamond Mine was in action. I did not care for Diamond Mine. I'll tell you what, the NXT Breakout Tournament first round between Andre Chase and Odyssey Jones, I did like that one. Odyssey Jones he's giving me a Mark Henry vibe. He's kind of giving me a Mark Henry, Willie Mack kind of vibe. I can see WWE doing something with him. They'd be a fool to let that big guy go. I see a lot of potential in him. Pretty damn good. Oh yeah, who won for that one too? Who won for that one? I believe, if I remember, Jones won. If I remember it right, Jones had won that match. But here's the thing, if you want to compare, Chase came off more polished. He honestly did. He came off more polished, but Jones really came in there with such a commanding presence. And just everything that he was doing had so much intensity. There was great emotion in every single thing that he was doing. Whereas Chase just pretty much, hey, yeah, that was great. Hey, you performed the moves very well. Yeah, you did solid. But outside of that, like for me at least, I don't know how it was for you guys, but for me at least, I didn't really get any personality out of Chase. I feel like I got a lot more out of Jones than I did from Chase. Let's see, what else? Austin Theory taking on Kylie O'Reilly. Remember, this was a main event for Evolve 125 when Theory was the champion for Evolve. If you guys want, you can actually see that on Peacock. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. So this was actually a pretty good fight here. Trying to think. I believe Austin Theory had picked up the win here. Yeah, it's coming back to me. Kylie O'Reilly actually had won this one. Backstage later on in the night, Austin Theory and the rest of the cats from the way were arguing, not liking how things have been going for them as of late. And as they all were arguing with each other, Austin Theory, it kind of seems like he came to the realization that it's just not working out. And he tried to get their attention, but they all were arguing amongst themselves. And he just quietly made his exit. So it kind of feels as though Theory is done with the way. The way it seems right now. So let's see how that continues to play out. Frankie Monet defeated JC Jane. Pretty much a squash match, but goddamn, I'll tell you what. I love the way Frankie Monet be pinning her opponents, man. She does it with not only such authority, but there is some sexual healing involved in that. Don't take my word for it. Look at the way she be pinning motherfuckers. That shit Damn. Big-legged woman got some soul. Squeeze my lemon till the juice runs down my leg. Yeah, 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 yeah. Squeeze it, baby, till the juice runs down my leg. Bobby Fish, Kushida, taking on Roderick Strong, Tyler Russ. Yeah, like I said, Diamond Mine. Just... Nothing against Bobby Fish and Kushida. Phenomenal. But for me, like, Diamond Mine, yeah, just... I don't know how it is for you guys. I still cannot get into this whole Diamond Mine shit. I found more enjoyment out of seeing Cameron Grimes doing his thing as the butler for LA Knight against Drake Maverick. I found that to be more entertaining and exciting than Bobby Fish Kushida taking on Roderick Strong and Tyler Russ. Seriously. Sue me. But seriously, that's what was going on with me. Something else had happened on NXT that was kind of noteworthy. It's escaping me right now. I'm probably going to remember it. Give me a second. There's something else that happened here. Yeah, guys, sorry. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think about it right now. Everything I've been spitting out so far has been off the top of my head, but there's the last one I was thinking, it's not coming back to me right now, sadly. Actually, yeah, I almost had it, but then I lost it again. But that sucks. I wish I could remember for you guys what it was, but nah. Honestly, it was kind of a lackluster episode, with the exception of those areas I talked about where, hey, this was actually pretty good. But I wouldn't say this was a skippable episode. I wouldn't say that. But if you didn't watch it, you're okay. You're okay with just checking out the highlights for it and all that. Now, I think there might be some numbers out for NXT as far as how they did yesterday. Let me see if I can actually pull up something here for you guys. And I'll give you guys the numbers. By the way, did you hear about WWE Raw for that Raw post Money in the Bank show? First Raw with the live fans in attendance. They did pretty damn good. They did like 1.9 million or some shit like that. 1.900 something million viewers. That's pretty damn good. That is pretty damn good. Up from what they were putting out, in the previous weeks there. So that's pretty good. Yeah, NXT, in case you didn't hear, despite the fact that it was somewhat of a lackluster episode, they actually did, in the 18 to 49 demographic, they did about 709,000 viewers. So they did about a 0.20 rating. Not bad. So it's up a little bit over 5%. And 0.6% compared to last week's episode, which pretty much was 705,000 viewers. So that's, that ain't too bad. You got yourself 709. That ain't too bad. So very curious to see where things are gonna go now that, okay, NXT, like, ain't no NBA action, right? Because you got the diehards. Oh, but the NBA, there's always an excuse, right? So it's like, okay, now that there is essentially no other competition on a Tuesday night, now let's see what you can do. Now let's see what's up. And I'm telling you, if the next rating for NXT is about the same, I think that those that want to always make an argument, oh, but this happened, oh, but just need to zip it and just go with the notion that no. This is the norm for NXT. This is just the regular norm. And I'll tell you what, you got to give Nick Khan a lot of props. I'm talking about the new guy there for WWE. You got to give him a lot of props because what he's been able to do so far since he's come to the scene, you see his trademark. I mean, there is so much consolidating that's been happening in many divisions, because he's trying to save the company money, but also make the company money at the same time. And the fact that we've got all these cross brandings that's going on here, I'm really loving it. I'm really loving it. It's the little things, especially now that we're getting the constant promo spots there for NXT on Monday Night Raw. I love how everything is intersecting with each other here. I love it. I was thinking about if we had got Mandy Rose on NXT. That was my train of thought that escaped me earlier. I don't remember seeing Mandy Rose. If she was on there, I'll have to rely on you guys because I know she made a cameo last week, but I don't recall seeing her this week. I don't even remember seeing the Robert Stone brand. If he was there, I don't quite remember it, and I'll give myself an out. I know I was kind of bouncing back and forth doing some stuff, so you guys will have to enlighten me on that one, but yeah, that's pretty much where we are right now. Okay. That was NXT though. Nothing else I want to add. So unless you guys want me to talk about something specific from NXT, keep it rocking, keep it rolling. We'll move it along. So, you ready to talk CM Punk? Ready to talk CM Punk? Ready to talk Daniel Bryan? Let's go there. So, let's deal with the Daniel Bryan stuff first because that's rather much easier because there's not a lot of substance that's out there right now. So you've got reports, and all of this is just reports, but this Daniel Bryan one is more so a rumor. I think the CM Punk stuff is more concrete. The Daniel Bryan stuff is more of a rumor. So there's a rumor going around that Daniel Bryan has apparently signed with AEW. Remember, one of the last times we saw Daniel Bryan, he had faced Roman Reigns back April of this year, and we pretty much haven't seen him since. To add more fuel to the fire, normally WWE, they meet with their toy distributors. In this case, it's Mattel, and as far as trying to figure out, okay, so for this respected quarter of 2021 going into this quarter of 2022, all right, what are we going to do as far as names, likeliness for figures, for this, for in-game content, for this and that. And Daniel Bryan was not part of that. Daniel Bryan, he is nowhere on the roster section for the WWE website. Nowhere on there whatsoever. He's not even in the Hall of Fame. None of that shit. None of that shit that's going on. And, now you may be saying to yourself, okay, so what about shop? What about the shop store? Is there still Daniel Bryan merch in the shop? Yeah, actually, there actually still is. You don't even have to type in his name. All you gotta, not like that. You don't have to type in his full name. All you gotta do is just DANI, and then he automatically pops up. And when you do go see what's going on with Daniel Bryan merchandise, you still got a decent amount. However, there's sales going on. So, for example, his Yes Tree shirt, that's now on sale for $10. His eco-friendly WWE Championship replica, normally $400. You can now get it for like $280 something. So if you were ever thinking about getting that title, go for it. Other than that, you got a couple other things. There's an art piece, a couple of bottles. But it looks like it's pretty much been liquidated, as far as items. I mean, look, if he had even more items than this, that's news to me, but it's relatively small compared to other superstars. So, for example, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I see we got a little nice amount of people that's watching the show live right now. I'm actually on the WWE shop website right now. Anybody, just give me a name of a WWE superstar and I'll type it in the search bar and you can, we'll figure out from there if they got more items than Daniel Bryan in the store right now. Give me anybody. You can give me two names. Anybody that's watching right now, give me two names. First two names, I'll go with the first two names that you guys put up in the chat. And we'll try to see if they got more of an inventory than Daniel Bryan here. Come on, guys. Show ain't going to be able to continue on until you give me a name. That's how we're going to do it right now. I don't even want you guys being all shy. Come on. Let's see here. Me, just for curiosity, I am going to go with, let's see here. Let's go with this. Okay. Now, for my own personal preference, I went with Charlotte Flair just to see. Charlotte Flair's got a lot of shit. She's got a lot of shit. Wow, an 18 by 24 poster of Charlotte Flair. Yo, I dig that. I dig that. That's a cool ass poster. I would love that poster more though if it was signed. Yo. Okay, let's see here. Roman Reigns. Alright, let's see here. So, but Charlotte has more shit than Daniel Bryan. Alright, let's see what Roman Reigns got. Alright, we got it loading up. Jesus fucking Christ. Yo, Roman Reigns got so much shit. Holy shit. Let me back up. Wait a minute. I mean, that's how long it was taking his shit to load up. I thought I was already done. No, man. Good God. Yeah, Roman's got a lot of shit. Let's go with Cena. Let's go with Cena. Curious how Cena is. Alright, let's see here. Now, Cena just came back, so let's see how this goes. Okay. 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 Wow. It almost looks back to business as usual for John Cena. Even John Cena's got more stuff than Daniel Bryan. So you guys get the point. Look, if the reports are true and Daniel Bryan has been picked up by AEW, good. I say fucking good. Look, when it's all said and done, what more is Daniel Bryan supposed to do in the WWE? Seriously, what more is he supposed to do? We've seen every single possible matchup there was to be seen in the WWE. Me personally, if you were really to put my feet to the fire, okay, if you could just see a couple of more matches from Daniel Bryan in the WWE, which ones would you want to see? Whereabout would you want to see them? There's a selfish part of me that goes, man, I really wish we could have gotten a Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles at a SummerSlam, Survivor Series, WrestleMania. Would have been fucking epic. I wish we could have gotten, in some form, Daniel Bryan carrying Cross. I think that would have been pretty fucking epic. Especially if you tell the psychology just right. And Daniel Bryan seems to be one of those type of guys. Yeah, man, we're going to make sure we put some thought into this, right? Yeah, I think we all can admit that. Yeah, we all can admit that. So, but for me, my list is very, very short as far as other opponents Daniel Bryan could be locking up with between Raw and SmackDown and all that. So it's kind of one of those, all right, well, do you maybe have him go to NXT? Does he maybe help out strictly with NXT for a little bit? Or No, I'm just, for me at least, I don't know how it is for you guys, but for me at least, it's just kind of, nah, you know what? What more is there to do? Seriously, what more is there to do in the WWE? Especially when you're at a point in your career where, you kind of want to slow down a little bit more, have the type of respectable schedule where you're not on the road as much because you got a young kid, you got a lovely wife. I mean, at this point, he's got his money. He's got more than enough money, so it's not like he's hurting for money. He can pretty much do whatever he wants to do. If he were to, yeah, I'm done, I'm retired, he's going to be good. He's actually going to be good. But Daniel Bryan to AEW, you talk about more of, I mean, think about it for a second. We were making fun of Sting earlier, but man, you look at the idea of having such a limited schedule for one at this stage of Daniel Bryan's career. That would not be an issue for a guy like Tony Khan, right? Second of all, AEW, look at the amount of hours in programming that they're putting out there right now. With, in addition, Rampage is going to be starting up soon in early August. So yeah, you're definitely, with all the talent that you have right now, you're definitely going to be stretching them out all across those respected shows. But at the same time, you also need some firepower. You need some mega names to help lure either the old school fans, definitely the newer fans. Yeah, you definitely want to be doing the very best job humanly possible to put more eyeballs on your product. Not to mention some of the fresh matchups that you would be able to see if, you were able to get Daniel Bryan to AEW. Man, I mean, just so many cool combinations that you can do there in AEW. I mean, just off the break, for me personally, just off the break, Daniel Bryan, Ricky Starks, Daniel Bryan, Scorpio Sky, Daniel Bryan, Frankie Kazarian, Daniel Bryan, and Sammy Guevara. You could also do, boy, that would be pretty that would be pretty interesting. That would be pretty interesting. I was thinking about Darby Allin. I think something. Oh, for sure, Daniel Bryan, Ethan Page. That would be my number one. Those guys would have lightning in the bottle. Oh, hell yeah, those guys would have fucking lightning in a bottle. Then of course you could intertwine Daniel Bryan with the Bucks, Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page. Man, the combinations are just so fucking endless over there. But we all could be in agreement. There's more fresh matchups, opportunities, especially as far as helping to elevate everybody else's game, take it to that next level. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. So that would be if the reports are true that Daniel Bryan has signed with AEW, if you're WWE, you just can't help but, I'm going to put this out and then we're going to talk about CM Punk. But then we got to come back to this point I'm getting ready to make up, which is, if you're WWE and you're allowing Daniel Bryan to just pretty much walk on, you're not going to even try to do a little something to try to get him to stay, toss him more money, whatever the case may be, to get him to stick around. You just can't help but, if you're WWE, go, man, why? Why would you let this guy walk away? Why would you do that after everything that he's pretty much done for the company? And the man can definitely still go at it. Why would you let that guy walk out? Like, is he that expensive? Is kind of one of the questions I would bring up. Or is he asking too much? Or, what the hell's going on here? It's a head scratching. It's a head scratching joint. But keep that thought in the back of your head. If you're WWE, just why would you even allow Daniel Bryan to just walk on like that? Now, let's talk about CM Punk. Boy, it's funny because in regards to CM Punk, and most listeners, especially longtime listeners, they know this. I'm a big CM Punk fan. But even I have just said over the years, look, man, it's nice that we always have the yearly, like clockwork, but it is what it is. I mean, just recently, wasn't it the 10-year anniversary where CM Punk won the WWE Championship or whatever, and he rolled the fuck out from the company afterwards, somewhere Punk or some shit like that, or the 10-year joint, his Money in the Bank, some anniversary that just went past. It was like, so his name is always out there. I still remember the interview that he did with Renee Young last year. And part of the conversation was, what would it take to have you get back into wrestling? And CM Punk said, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's 90% accurate. He said, and I recommend, if you guys didn't listen to that interview, go back and listen to it. It's pretty laid back, pretty insightful, pretty engaging. I like the chemistry between Renee and Punk. It's pretty good. Pretty much a nice continuation of what we saw of them on WWE backstage. But Punk said to Renee, I don't really know. I think, honestly, a couple of things. One, it would have to be a very intriguing storyline. It would have to be something that, wow, that's pretty damn fresh. That's original. Yeah, I can get behind that. Let's fucking go. And then the second thing CM Punk said is that it would take a boatload of money to get him to do this thing called, pro wrestling, to get back into this thing called pro wrestling. So, we heard the rumbling some years back. Remember that? Cody Rhodes saying that there's been talks with CM Punk, but CM Punk pretty much, nah. Your definition of talks is basically sending me a text message asking me if I want to do a little something. That's not talks. No. Talking is actually meeting in person, hammering out some shit, doing some stuff, and then pretty much going from there. It's been an interesting journey because, I remember when I remember what I also forgot, by the way. It came back to me. Remember I told you at the very beginning of the show I forgot something. I just couldn't remember what it was. One was the audio thing, making sure that we had the recorder on. The second thing, my retainers. Forgot to put my retainers back in my mouth because I had wanted to wear my retainers during the show. It's all good. I've been out of my retainers a little too long, so I'm kind of, but it's all good. But I remember when I went to go meet and greet CM Punk for that first, what was that? Was that All In? Was it All In, or was it, God, it feels like it was, it was so long ago. I can't remember if it was All In. I want to say it was All In. But, the Pro Wrestling Tees store in Chicago, I remember when I had went out there and all the buzz that was in the air for CM Punk. So many people under the impression that he was gonna be doing something with AEW, and the whole buzz that was in the air that whole weekend. You just would have had to been there. But it was crazy. It was something else. And it was amazing also to see how many people had came out to see CM Punk that weekend. Now keep in mind, he could have easily just gone to StarCast. Yeah, it was All In. It was the very first All In joint there. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Because I remember just saying, man, we're doing StarCast, and yet Punk isn't at StarCast. What the hell? But remember, the next year, Punk had did StarCast. But yeah, that first year, yeah, no Punk at StarCast. Instead, he was just down the street, basically, at the Pro Wrestling Tees store. But there was like about, I ain't bullshitting you guys, there was at least, when I was out there in Chicago, at least, man, I'm not exaggerating either. I'm not exaggerating. I would estimate, and Pro Wrestling Tees will probably back me up on this too, there was at least about 4 to maybe 500 people that came out to meet CM Punk. And I'll never forget how ridiculous the line was. The lines were so ridiculous. Yo, the lines, we're talking, as far as I remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. No. No bullshit. The lines went as far as like 10 blocks at one point. Now, luckily, I wasn't that far back. Luckily for me, I was about 3 blocks. And I started early. I started early for the meet and greet. And I started early. I'm bringing this up because just the fact that, wow, all these people that came out to see CM Punk, and at this point, he had been away from the business, what? God, well, shit, hang on. When was All In? Hang on. All In pay-per-view. Because at that point, let's look here. So that was 2018 we're talking about. And what? The last time CM Punk wrestled was what? My girl always reminds me, CM Punk, we saw him when we saw him still in the ring when we first got together. So I think CM Punk might have been done around, what, 2013, 14? Yeah, 2013, 14. So at that point, CM Punk was CM Punk was 4 years removed from the world of pro wrestling. 4 years removed, 4 almost going on 5 years. And there was still this great buzz that was going on about him. And then, as we all saw with StarCast from 2019, all the buzz in the air yet again in regards to Punk. I don't know what it is, man. I couldn't tell you. I don't know what it is with the infatuation with CM Punk. You know, and I guess it's kind of one of those type of deals where for many fans, this guy left the world of pro wrestling at such a high mark. You know, for some fans, they feel that maybe he was just really starting to scratch the surface and the pinnacle of his career. And, you know, to that, I always say, be very, very careful what you wish for, because sometimes it's okay to just have the memories of yesteryear, because sometimes that continuing chapter, a new chapter at that, you know, what was all good for that first chapter, and now we're getting ready to embark on a second chapter. Sometimes that second chapter, sometimes that sequel isn't as good as the original. So that is probably, that's as honest as I'm gonna get as a CM Punk fan. Look, Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful, got to give him a lot of props. And I like the fact that he made sure he doubled down to say, look, what I'm hearing, nothing has been signed that I know of, but this is how it is. And basically, the talks with AEW, it's intensified. I'm not surprised hearing a report like that, because from the previous years, there were reports that were floating around that Tony Khan tried to have some talks with CM Punk, but they couldn't quite agree on the money and everything. And then look, obviously, when the whole pandemic went down, yeah, as far as trying to, yeah, I would imagine that definitely had put shit on ice. And it was kind of one of those, let's try this again later, right? So now that we're pretty much post pandemic, and we've got a lot of these wrestling promotions that's getting back out there. I would imagine there's a lot of wrestling promotions that are very interested in CM Punk. But the question is, number one, who is going to present CM Punk with the best opportunities that's out there from a creative standpoint for him to be able to tell the type of stories that he wants to tell? Great, exciting matchups, right? Like, who's going to have all of that, but also at the same time, who's going to give him what he wants? Who is going to pay him what he wants? And that's when because if he cares about money, then we can eliminate a whole lot of other promotions right now. I know a lot of people, Impact. MLW. I would love it if he could do something for NWA, but you and I both know if he were to do something for NWA, he would be doing something for NWA for the love of the sport and not for the money. I am so personally hoping that because there's a selfish part of me. I'm hoping that with this Mickie James NWA Empower pay-per-view event that's going to be coming up in August, that AJ Lee is somehow incorporated, because if she's somehow incorporated with it, I just kind of feel as though if everything goes off really good with her, that maybe that would set up something for CM Punk down the road. So there's that selfish part of me that's looking at that. But there's a small part of me as far as like an underdog promotion that could possibly work with CM Punk. For me, I'm putting NWA right there. But come on, CM Punk in New Japan. I mean, look, that would be great. That would be pretty great, but I just don't see that happening this late into his career. I just don't see that happening. He really gives me the vibe he wants to try to do his very best to stay US based as possible. You know, I don't know if you guys are kind of getting that same vibe too, but that's the vibe I'm kind of, overall perspective I'm kind of getting from him. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first, wouldn't be the last. But AEW seems to be the way to go. I mean, you just think about all the fresh matchups that's over there. Definitely the creative freedom that's there as well. You know, pretty much the same examples that I had gave earlier with Daniel Bryan. Here's something else to think about too. If AEW were to acquire Daniel Bryan, and look, I would imagine that Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, I'd be shocked to hear if they haven't talked to each other in years. I would like to believe that they still communicate with each other on a somewhat regular basis. I honestly would like to believe that. I'd be really shocked if it was not the case otherwise. But if you're AEW, can you just imagine you're able to get Daniel Bryan? You're able to get CM Punk. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Kevin Durant and fucking oh god, what's the other guy? Kawhi Leonard. No, not Kawhi Leonard. Shit, I'm blanking out. I need you guys' help. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. That would be like a fucking 1-2 punch. Kyrie Irving and oh god, why am I blanking out on names tonight? I'm fucking struggling here. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant to the Brooklyn Nets. It would remind me so much of that, because like if you're AEW and you're able to get those two guys, it's like, god damn. All right, so let's see if we got this straight. You're gonna have Daniel Bryan and you're gonna have CM Punk, and then right up under that, you pretty much got Chris Jericho, you've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Kenny Omega, you've got the Bucks, you've got Big Show, you've got Mark Henry. Holy fucking Christ. You got JR. Just the wealth of knowledge, experience. I mean, you're turning some heads. If you weren't turning heads before, you're definitely going to be turning heads now and getting a lot more eyeballs on your product. Without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow of doubt. CM Punk now what? What is he now? 44? Going on 45? No, he's like 42. He's like 42. Going on 43. So still a relatively young man. Still a lot that he could definitely offer to the wrestling business, right? Would I like to see him back? Of course I would. Who wouldn't like to see CM Punk back? The question is, are things going to work out in such a way where, and look, if I were to be a betting man, you guys want to ask me straight up, just based on the reports that's floating around, and I'm usually pretty good at things from 2 cents at a distance. If you were to ask me straight up if I think CM Punk is going to be signing with AEW, any other time, because yearly we go through this with the rumors, we go through this with the reports, and it's like, speculation, take it with a, but I do believe CM Punk is legit. In my heart, I do believe he is a lot closer to returning to the world of pro wrestling, and I do believe that the place he's going to be returning to pro wrestling is going to be AEW. If you were to ask me when I see this trigger being pulled, far as some type of an announcement goes or whatever, when I could see CM Punk coming back into the world of pro wrestling. If it's in the case of AEW that we're talking about, I would say if they're going to do something and they are able to get CM Punk, I would say surely you do something at this year's All Out at the Now Arena. If you're going to have CM Punk return and you're trying to put a lot of eyes on your product, that's the respected weekend to do it, because All Out has pretty much been AEW's WrestleMania, if you will. So if you're going to do something, I think that's the time to do it. Why hold off and wait until early 2022 would be my question. When, okay, if you got the man to agree, why not go on ahead, pull the trigger? I think that now more revenue has come in within reason. Here's the other thing you got to think about too, now that I'm thinking about it. I go back to that interview that Tony Khan had gave recently, and Forbes had did a really good job tracking the money and everything. We got to remember something. AEW is still not cash flow positive. They are still seeing a lot of red, and it's because they invested so much money into the damn video game. That video game that has yet to be released. I mean, they're in the millions in the red, largely in part because of that damn video game. So AEW going on tour, then you got these occasional pay-per-views. You're going to need some help. Let me tell you something. If they're able to get CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, it's going to be a collective effort. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be a collective effort. I can see it being a case where not only would Shad Khan come into play and help out as far as trying to secure the guys, but I have a feeling that TNT may also, wait a minute, you got a shot at getting these guys, but you just need help putting the money together to. I could also see it being a case where even TNT may chip in a little bit. Think about what was going on with Sting and Impact Wrestling back in the day when Sting was in TNA. When Sting's contract was just, it got to a point where the networks were helping out. I mean, it's well known. They were helping out paying for Sting's contract. They also came into play when it came to paying for Hulk Hogan and I believe Eric Bischoff's contracts as well. So I could definitely see a scenario where Shad Khan does a little something, but Turner Sports steps in. Okay, we'll do. And you know what? It would be awesome. If I'm Tony Khan and them, I'm definitely doing that, because look at what CM Punk has been able to do from outside pro wrestling standpoint. His commentating when it comes to baseball games. I mean, I've seen him little pregame or postgame shows or whatever. I've seen him. He's pretty damn good. He is pretty damn good. Put me in a position. Let me tell you something. No bullshit. If there was ever a fan that was remotely interested in baseball in the past, and they've been gone for some years, if you were to, okay, look, Punk, we're going to get you for, Turner Sports is going to help out with your contract, but in return, there's going to be some baseball games that they want you to be part of, the pregame show. Dude, no bullshit. I could see Ernie Johnson doing some shit with Punk over on TBS or whatever. I don't know if you guys can see it. I could definitely see some shit like that. I would essentially look at that as equivalent to Jim Nance, Tony Romo, within reason. Within reason. I could look at it as that. But he's very, very universal, is the point that I'm making. He's very good at hockey. My God, he knows his fucking hockey. And, sadly, Turner Sports, they were trying to see if they could get some hockey. But it didn't fall through as far as, because I believe ultimately NBC Universal had pretty much won that one. So, but he definitely would have been great, at that. But I could see something like that where Turner, okay, we'll help you out, but, look, we kind of need him to do some stuff for us then, so I could definitely see that coming about. It's another point I had wanted to make up with regards to Punk there, but that would be a great grab. It would be a win-win, not just for AEW. You do it in a way, it would also be a good way for Turner Sports. It would definitely be, of course, a good win, for the fans and everything. It would definitely be good for pro wrestling. Definitely be good for pro wrestling as a whole. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all goes. But I'm definitely going to say CM Punk, if he hasn't already signed, I'm definitely going to say he'll sign before All Out or by All Out. I could see him appearing at All Out. Legit. I could see him appearing at All Out. And depending on, how you want to go about this, that's where it gets a little bit tricky here, because all signs seem to indicate that maybe Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, will be colliding at All Out. Now, my question is, do you have Kenny Omega retain at All Out, and essentially Hangman Adam Page takes a back seat to CM Punk chasing after Hangman? Do you maybe go in that respected direction? or are you going in another completely different direction? And if so, what is that respected direction? That's where things kind of get a little bit murky here, but there's a lot of twists and turns. Any other time, I wouldn't spend as much time and attention on a report like this, but because of where the report came from, and they've been pretty reputable over the years. Now, look, the Daniel Bryan report that's floating around, I'm well aware of how this report initially started, where it's from. It's the website that it's from. I've heard of them off and on over the years, but I would definitely take that report with a grain of salt. I'm not saying they're lying, so please don't misconstrue me. I'm not saying they're lying, but I'm just, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. For me, if it's not Fightful, if it's not the good kind people over at 411 Mania, if it's not Gerwick, if it's not Observer, I would definitely kind of look at it a little bit cross-eyed and go, wait a minute here. So, but the CM Punk, definitely look at that and take that for what it's worth. I mean, I love it. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that CM Punk will be returning to pro wrestling? Do you think he's going to be returning before the year is out? Do you see him returning to wrestling in the form of going to sign with AEW, or at this point, do you see him going elsewhere? I'm most curious what you guys have to say, so definitely sound off on that. See, other than that, just trying to think as far as any other reports that's floating around right before we get ready to wrap it up here tonight. Trust me, we'll be talking a lot more about all of this, but I think we should just pause on that note and everything. Just trying to think. I'm just checking out some stuff right before we get ready to stick a fork in it as far as some last minute stuff. No, there's really nothing else that we need to get into here. We're pretty much caught up. Now, I will say this, AEW, they did pretty good with their ratings from last week. If I remember right, they did about 1 million and change. And they had competition from the NWA. Think about that. I'm going to say this week, I'll say 957,000 for AEW this week. 957,000. Let's see. Other than that, Impact Wrestling should be pretty good this week. Mickey James is set to appear. Also, Jay White is going to be in the Impact Zone. Also, some of the action that's going to be happening, some matches that were announced. Chris Bay will be taking on Rohit Raju. Finn Juice versus Ace Austin, Madman Fulton. Brian Myers, Sam Beal, and Tennille Dashwood will face Matt Cardona, Jake Something, and Chelsea Green. Also, Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. Rematch from Slammiversary. Decay defends the championships against Fire and Flavor. So, check out Impact. Should be pretty good. I'll actually be watching that. I will actually be watching Impact. See, by the time I get off work, I will have missed 90 minutes of Impact. So I will actually be watching it. I will actually be watching it via the Impact app, because that's my usual hookup these days. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So look, quick programming notes. Next time we'll be live with you guys. Looking at the calendar here, we'll be live with you guys on, let's see here. I got to put out some Patreon content too. No, it's going to be relatively quiet. So this is our last show until Monday. We'll be back with you guys Monday, July 26th. And we'll be live after Monday Night Raw. So tune in for that. We'll be on at 11 p.m. Eastern, right after Raw goes off the air. That'll be our next show. Shout out to our sponsors. especially autopurchasers.com. Check them out. You've been thinking about selling your vehicle, check them out. Check them out. If your vehicle is paid off or it's about to be paid off, but you're thinking about getting rid of it, selling your vehicle has never been this easier. Just head on over to autopurchasers.com, get the hookup. What I will do, if you guys would like to maybe call into the show and you want to talk about the CM Punk news, Daniel Bryan news, or you maybe want to talk about the pay-per-views even that we got from over the weekend. Maybe you want to talk about some of the returns that went down with Raw, or you want to pick my brain a little bit on something wrestling related, maybe non-wrestling related. You guys can call into the show right now if you want. Let me put the phone number up on the screen here. Let's see, where is that? Bear with me. And actually, I'm glad that we're still on the air, because while I'm setting this up for you guys, there is actually one more story I do want to share with you guys. But if you want to call in, go ahead, call in. And while I am setting this up, I'll tell you guys the story. Here it is. Boom. There you go. If you want to call in, sound off. Number of the stuff we covered on the show tonight, 202-769-1364. That's 202-769-1364. Yeah, so I thought this was interesting. Yeah, I'm actually glad that we're still on the air here. Check this out. So Velveteen Dream had got announced for appearing at a wrestling promotion. This was hilarious. So I apologize for those of you that's not checking out the webcast version of the show. You really should check out the webcast version. But this promotion, SWF Live, they put out this post, pretty much earlier today. SWF Wrestling and the Trifecta are happy to announce, formerly known as Velveteen Dream, will make his first wrestling appearance since his WWE departure live on September 11th at SWF's Wrestling's event, Home Sweet Home, at the Toms River YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Hey, they got everything. You can do what you feel. Young man, are you listening to me? I said, young man. Showing my age a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Anyway, so they put this out. You're going, okay, cool. Then, next thing you know, hey, yo, tickets available. Eventbrite, they put up the link. This did not last that long. It lasted about 110 minutes. So you're talking about almost 2 hours here. And then they followed it up with the following post. Again, within under 2 hours of posting this. Then they follow up and they say, tonight we announced Velveteen Dream would be appearing at our Home Sweet Home event. I believe any man can be slandered and have been through other situations in my life, unrelated but true. Now, I think what they were trying to say was, I believe any man can be slandered and have been through other situations in life that are untrue, but in this case it kind of comes off as if the guy behind it is saying, hey, I know what it's like, I've kind of been in situations like that, and it turns out it's untrue or whatever, right? Anyway, after careful consideration, Dream has been removed. This is my only beef in regards to this. This is my only beef. Give me a second here. This is money. This is money talking here. Give me a second here. No. This would not apply to my audience. But thanks for reaching out. All the best. Okay. Anyway. Sorry about that. That's money. Follow your convictions, damn it. If you believe in something, follow your damn convictions. See it all the way through. I stand by this decision. This is my decision. I'm making it. That's final. If you don't like it, fuck you. Not that hard. Not that hard, right? Not that hard. So don't talk this big game about, I believe any man can be slandered and have been through other situations in my life unrelated but untrue. Okay. Don't you think, though, that if you really meant this, right? Just think about this. After careful consideration. No. Let me tell you what happened here. In the 2 hours that you made this announcement, you got your ass handed to you on social media. And it was getting too goddamn hot. It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot. I'm gonna take my clothes off. It's getting so hot. You just said, oh, it's too much for me. It's just too much. I gotta get out of here. Come on, man. Come on. No, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. Right? After careful consideration. Here's your after careful consideration. Right? You kick it off with, hey, what was the first post that they posted here? Let me come back to this. Okay. All right, so you see this shit about SWF Wrestling and the Trifecta are happy to announce, right? You're happy to announce, formerly known as Velveteen Dream will make his first appearance. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, immediately after this post, you should have had a thread and had another post that says, we are very well aware of said allegations that have been made about Patrick Clark, FKA Velveteen Dream, or AKA Velveteen Dream, and as troubling that the reports may be for some folks, it should be noted that no charges were ever brought upon Patrick Clark. There was no police investigation, that his former employer did do their own respected investigating and found that Mr. Clark was clear of any wrongdoing. That in mind, anybody that is not interested in this particular event, has issues with who we are booking for this event, your options are simple. Don't come to the event. Don't talk about the event. Don't cover the event. Check out something else. Right? Hey, if you want to unfollow us, that's your prerogative. But yeah. Love it. Learn to live with it. Love it. Or move along. Simple as that. Simple as that. That's what you should have posted. Hell, you could have even just had, I know one thing that's kind of popular with some of these folks today when they go on Twitter, because there's only so many characters. Most folks like to go the clever route and they'll type up something on a notepad, take a screenshot of that entire body, and then post that as the one thread. Like, you could have easily done that as well. Or you could have made a YouTube video announcement and pretty much share the news that way. Right? But don't do people like that. Don't go in here almost 2 hours later. Believe any man can be slandered and have been through other situations in my life unrelated but untrue. After careful consideration, no, translation, after being handed my ass on social media, Dream has been removed. That's pretty much what had went down. What did I tell you guys months back when it came to Patrick Clark and the whole shit that went down ultimately with his WWE release? If you guys don't remember, I said to you guys, if I am a wrestling promoter that's out there, it may be very tempting to try to do some work with Patrick Clark, but given everything that's going about, right now, even though, he's pretty much in the clear here, yeah, like, do you really want to be put under the microscope doing some type of business with this man? Do you really, really want to be associated with this and the allegations that came about? Yeah, nah. Think about that. This is like, because if I remember correctly, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, April last year, he was accused of sending indecent images to underage boys on Instagram. And that's when the whole Reddit thing had came about, right? But then a couple of months later, that same year, he made headlines again after there were new allegations that were made that he sent a sexually illicit photo to an underage girl, on top of having inappropriate conversations with underage boys, grooming them and all that. And remember, WWE reportedly investigated the incident, but they didn't find anything. Now, what did that consist of, basically? That consisted of Patrick Clark voluntarily, hey, here's my phone, hey, you want my login info? Hey, look, here you go. And they could not find anything. Now, some people could easily counter that and say, well, shit, maybe he was using some type of another phone, a burner phone or some shit like that. Maybe he was using something else. Could be. All the technology that we got out there, the apps and all that, it could be, right? Anything's possible. But my point is, man, you got this controversy that is like, a year plus old. And the one thing that went down during this whole pandemic was a lot of people were able to have more free time on their hands than they would have liked. And it gave them more of an opportunity to catch up on stuff. Maybe for some people, hey, I used to be a casual wrestling fan, but work has been doing blah, blah, blah. But now that this pandemic has gone down, let me see what's going on. So, shit that people normally wouldn't, you understand what I'm saying? It's like now they're finding that enlightenment. They're getting more knowledge and all that other shit way too soon. If you're a North American promotion and you're thinking about doing something with Patrick Clark, just one piece of advice. For Jesus fucking Christ, look at all of the other names that's out there on the free agency market right now. Do you really want to have Patrick Clark be at the top of your list with all of that that's going on, even if he is innocent? Do you really want to attach yourself to that right now? Because if you are going to attach yourself to this, know without a shadow of doubt what you could possibly be getting yourself, your brand, your promotion, your company into, and be willing to ride it out no matter what. Ride it out. Good, bad, indifferent. You're going to lose some subscribers. You're going to lose some fans. Ride it out. Otherwise, if you're not willing to see it all the way through, then don't waste your time. Don't waste his time. And just keep it moving along and go with your nice, perfect little card that you feel won't cause you any type of controversy whatsoever. This is not a case where I don't feel society is being too overly triggered. I don't think this is a case where there is just, when you really break this down, there's a majority of people that feel he's guilty. And then you have those that, like myself, are looking at this and going, there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of gray areas in this. Too gray for me. Don't really want to have anything to do with it. Right? There's folks like me that's thinking like that. And yeah. And then you got those that, of course, that very, very small group, totally innocent. That feel he's totally innocent. So it's split three ways. But, no. I would personally stay away from that one. So please, you guys, with your independent wrestling promotions that's out there, please learn from this. And I don't even think 2 years could go by. Look, if you're Patrick Clark, it's going to take a lot. 25 years old. Young man was just beginning to scratch the surface of his pro wrestling career. I think that as far as wrestling in North America goes, no. You know, if he is to get some type of work on the pro wrestling scene, I mean, I think it's going to be indy. I mean, look, I'll give you $250, 6-pack of beer and some hot dogs. You know, I think it's going to be like that in North America. I think if he's truly all about this, I kind of feel as though maybe he needs to go work outside of North America. I think that's the only chance he might have of a career for himself, if it's something that he wants to continue to pursue as far as pro wrestling goes. I think he's going to have to leave the U.S. I don't know what you guys think. I definitely would love to know what you guys think, so sound off. But that's just my 2 cents from a distance. Now, what that promotion could be, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if it means he would have to go wrestle in the UK. I don't know if that means he has to wrestle in Japan or wrestle in Germany. Your guess is as good as mine, but I just feel that with everything that's going on in North America, I don't think he has a shot. I definitely don't think he has a shot. Not without constantly being under the microscope. I don't think. When might it be a case in North America where it's not going to be as intense as it is right now, even though it's been a year plus later? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard to put a timeline out there. It really is. Just when you think enough time has passed for, say, Joey Ryan to try to do a little something, his ass keeps being handed right back to him. So your guess is as good as mine. I think for situations like this, for accusations and all that like this, incidents like this, I don't really think it's fair to put a timestamp on it. I think it will just continue to linger, and you know, if a motherfucker is innocent, they've got to work 2 times as hard to, and that's the thing that Patrick Clark needs to ask himself is, okay, if this shit is you know, it's not true, you know, then how dedicated are you to, and how much time are you willing to stay at it, knowing that it's probably going to be a couple of years that you're going to have to eat a lot of shit and just chip away? You willing to, or you get away from all of this, and right? So I have to wait and see how that pans out. All right. Other than that, that's good. I think on that note, we got ourselves a show. We can call this show DONE done. So when it's all said and done, we went about, looks like about maybe 2 hours, maybe about 28 minutes, almost a half hour. So you guys got a nice little deluxe edition here. Oh, forgive me, I missed some comments here. I humbly apologize, guys. I didn't even see the chat notification. Give me a second here. Let's read some of you guys' comments here. Let's see here. See. Yeah, I gotta catch up here. My bad, guys. I gotta catch up here. See here. Joel Patrick Clark has a gig indie show in New Jersey. Is that the same promotion I was just talking about, or is it a different promotion, Joel? If you're still around, post real quick. Church Tupac, I wouldn't touch him if I was a promotion. As talented as he was, there's enough other wrestlers in the world. Yeah, exactly, bro. There's like, especially with everybody that was released, and I mean, not for nothing, but a lot of these wrestlers that were recently released, you can easily go on ahead and, okay, look, if some of them sign with AEW, Tony Khan has already proven, oh yeah, you want to do something with them for your respective promotion? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, go ahead, go make that money. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's cool. Yeah, you can keep your Twitch, your Cameo, all that shit. It's all good, man. All good over here. Yeah, go out there and make that money. So, this is the coolest part about now that we're coming out of this pandemic. AEW really starting to take off. Could you just imagine if AEW was around when the bullshit was first coming about with CM Punk? I think cooler heads would have prevailed in WWE. Hey, now, we got to make sure we don't lose this guy. We don't need to lose this guy to our rival over here. Come on now, let's make sure we do this shit right? CM Punk wouldn't have been, suspended or whatever that stupid shit that went down. FedEx on his goddamn wedding day and all of that would have never fucking happened if, as strong as AEW is right now and continues to get stronger and stronger by the month, if they were doing everything back then, forget about it. But you got so much more variety, stronger variety at that now, that all of these men and women, even from those from a production standpoint, no, you gotta let go. No problem. There's other work elsewhere. Yeah. See. I remember when he told Ricochet that he was getting hot dogs and a handshake. Oh, I bet he wished he could have taken that back. Yeah. Church says, I'm from the UK. We wouldn't be entertaining him, and he would not enjoy being in front of a UK crowd. I bet. See here, what else we got? I think so, bro. The guy that airbrushes his attire told me. So he could be doing something in New Jersey. Okay. So that's interesting. So besides that SWF promotion that we were talking about just now, shout out to Joel in the chat. He's thinking that Patrick Clark has been announced for an event in New Jersey. So let me see something real quick here. See here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can figure out what other promotion he is signed up for. Let's see here. We might be talking about the same event because, hang on, I got it loading here because we might be talking about the same event. So let's see here. Let's see here. SWF. Yeah, we're talking about the same event. SWF is based out in New Jersey. So that's exactly the one that we're talking about here. So let me back up a second. So let me see here, because I don't see anything else as far as other wrestling events that he was scheduled for, this was his first event. And Rob Fury, the owner of SWF, he's pretty much the one that put that statement out there about him being canceled and all that. So far as I'm seeing right now, and I'll continue to research it and I'll maybe follow up with a post online, I'm not seeing anything about other events that he's supposed to be doing. So that's nice to hear that even in the UK, nah, man, he ain't gonna get no love in the UK over here. He take that bullshit elsewhere. I like that. Let's see. Somebody had said, got the show in my watch later. I'll check it out tomorrow. Thanks for the content. No, thank you. And that reminds me, as we get ready to make our exit here, usually the show's not that long, but that was a lot that we had to take there with the CM Punk and then the Velveteen Dream. So normally I've been trying to have these shows be under 2 hours or just do a hard 2 hours here. So hopefully you guys appreciate the bonus content. But you made it up to this point. Thank you kindly for checking out the show. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Appreciate those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand. Definitely make sure you hit that like. You do that. That really helps push our content out there more for people to check out. And I tell you what, the show's already lengthy as it is. I'll tell you what, maybe Sunday. We'll see what happens, see how I'm feeling Sunday. Maybe we'll do a show where we'll pretty much just open up the phone lines and we can just have a free-for-all, whatever you guys want to talk about, pick my brain on. We can pretty much do it like that. I'll maybe make a poll. Maybe I'll make a poll sometime tomorrow asking if you guys would like a call-in show. And we can even have a way where you can even call in via Discord, because I know not everybody is able to call the local number that we have. So Discord is also kind of another way we can kind of work around that as well, especially if you guys are overseas and all that. So look out for that poll. I'll put it up on the YouTube's community tab, youtube.com/the RCWR show, and then click on the communities tab. Yeah. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR show. And until next go around, wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Wishing you guys well. Y'all do take care.